How you doing, everybody? J. Lewis the third. I'm uh I'm doing this live for uh nothing in particular, just because I felt like putting something out. I I was I had a question from an audience member was asking me about why I was planning on interviewing a birth doula for the upcoming Global Grief Network event. I'm actually going to be doing that my program, the Navigating Single Fatherhood. I'm going to be doing that live on the Global Grief Network platform on April 25th at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. But I am interviewing a birth doula. And under normal circumstances, I wouldn't be any issue, except my show is a podcast about navigating through single fatherhood. The reason why I have a birth doula on is because, you see, the beginning of fatherhood or single fatherhood, it starts with the birth of a child. And having the conversation with my friend who's going to be the birth doula, who is a birth doula, her name is Natalie Guzman. Having that conversation is going to be important because we actually spoke offline about the fact that it serves two purposes having a doula on my show. And the first thing is it lets potential fathers know that if you do things right, you won't be a single father. And doing things right means that you're going to have a little bit of compassion and understanding. Because it was funny, what Miss Guzman was saying was that when a woman is going through pregnancy, she's 5 or 6 different women for the 9 months that she's carrying a child. So a a potential father can wake up one day to a woman who is just sweet, kind. He comes home from work and she's a straight demon. And again, it's not really her fault. It's the fact she's going through this incredible hormonal change. I mean, mind you, she's she's living for two. Her and that baby that's inside her. So there's going to be an incredible imbalance of hormones. What that means is that you, as a father, listen, if you want to keep your relationship with the mother of your child, you have to learn how to be understanding. You're going to have to learn how to have a little bit of care. You're gonna have to be empathetic. You're gonna put your feelings down, and you're gonna have to be able to manage her feelings. When she's feeling upset, you gotta do what you can to help her calm down. Because remember, her feelings affect not only her, but they affect her child. They're interconnected. So if she's going through trauma, if she's going through hardships, then that baby potentially goes through that. And that means that when that child comes out, there could be some possible birth defects, mental issues, emotional challenges. Because children feel these things in the womb. So, as the father, your goal is to lower those levels. And consequently, let me explain something. When your significant other, your baby's mother, goes through that and finds out you were there for her, she has a whole new respect for you. You guys' relationship strengthens. And again, that adds to the fact that you get to potentially not become a single parent, not become a single father. And remember, when you are strengthening your relationship with the child's mother, you're also creating an incredible bond and relationship with your child. You see, there are a lot of single fathers, not a lot, but there are single fathers that take the I'm out of here approach. You know, either they're scared of the fact that they've impregnated a woman and they got to handle responsibility, or they get a little shook when that woman does something different than what they expect. I mean, I remember when my wife had our first child, and she did something totally out of pocket. Not anything crazy, but I'll tell you the story real quick. You see, we used to go to this little sandwich shop, and I would always get sweet peppers on my sandwiches. I loved them. She couldn't stand sweet peppers at all. About 4 months into her pregnancy, she says, I want a sandwich. Can you do me a favor? Make sure that they load it up with sweet peppers. I want some sweet peppers. Now, for me, I'm like, that's a total mental shift. Because as long as I've known you, you didn't like them. But the point I'm making is that a woman can change at the drop of a dime. And you, as the child's father, you have to be prepared to deal with that. I mean, she may come at you in some kind of crazy way. She may have checked your phone and saw that you had a number one there that she didn't recognize. And it could be just clearly one of your homies, whatever, but she's gonna go off. You gotta learn how to navigate through that and learn how to have a conversation that's not going to agitate her or that potential child. Then there's a whole nother aspect to this. Me and Ms. Guzman were talking about the fact that single fathers that are raising daughters, they're going to have to look at something differently. Because if that daughter, say she has a young pregnancy between, say, the ages of 15 and 19. If she has that kind of pregnancy and she's scared, she's young, it's not too sure if the father of the child is going to be with her, so she might feel alone and by herself. She wants to know that the comfort of daddy is there. So daddy can't be focused on the fact that she got pregnant. Daddy needs to be focused on how he's going to take care of his baby girl and his grandchild. There has to be a shift in perspective. Again, you can't focus on the fact that she is pregnant. You have to focus on the fact of what you're going to do to help her through this pregnancy. And because remember something, you know, she's gonna want daddy's help. I mean, it could be a situation where you're a single father that, you have your daughter 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And there's no mother figure. And there may not be any women that you trust that would be able to give her conversation that can help her out. So you have to adopt the ability to be able to understand her feelings. Again, address her hormone imbalances. Be okay with them. And help cater to her needs so that she can have a healthy pregnancy. Because your goal as a father is to make sure that your daughter and now your grandchild are taken care of. It's the greatest privilege in the world when your seed produces another seed that has your lineage. So look at it as a circumstance that is a benefit. It doesn't matter what the outside thinks. You're always going to hear somebody saying things like, oh man, your daughter got pregnant as a teenager. What kind of father are you? You're going to hear that. But remember something. It's not about what the outside thinks. It's about how you're going to navigate through that period. How you're going to address that pregnancy so that your daughter feels like my dad was there. Because again, like I said, there's a chance that if there's a young pregnancy, so 15, 16, 17, listen, baby father might have walked away and leaving her to raise that baby on her own. Now, let me explain something to you. If you don't step up, then consequences are going to be what they are. What that means is that, let me explain something. There are a lot of young mothers whose fathers and boyfriends abandon them. So now they're doing nefarious things for change. There's a lot of these women who their fathers neglected them. Their baby daddy don't deal with them. So now they may have some relationship with some guy that, really is not beneficial for them, or let's keep it real, they on the stripper pole because they got to feed their kid. You as a father can address that situation, can shift that narrative. You being compassionate, you helping her through the situation. See, the more you help cater to her situation, the least likely she's going to go out there to the streets and look for answers, look for warmth, look for help, look for someone to give her what she's been looking for from her father. This is the reason why I'm having a conversation on the live that I'm doing with the birth doula. And I feel that doing it on the Global Grief Network platform is extremely beneficial because my friend Tony and my friend Ada, the coordinators of this event, they have been able to, get the situation live streamed, on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Rumble. They can potentially reach millions of people. And you know what? Their potential reach doesn't even matter to me. It's the fact that my message, I'm hoping that the message that me and Miss Guzman, through our dialogue, have, it resonates with some father out there or some potential father to either negate becoming a single father or assist their daughter with becoming that father figure that they truly need, especially during this difficult time. I mean, listen, men, we don't have to go through it, but the pregnancy period that a woman has to deal with, I mean, their body's changing, their attitude's changing, their desires are changing. They don't even know themselves all that well anymore. So, again, the conversation I'm going to have with Ms. Guzman is going to be vital. Because she's going to not only be able to give valuable information from a female's perspective, but also from the perspective of an expert. And in addition to being a doula, she also speaks to families about the birthing process. So making sure that a young father understands what he has gotten himself into is key. Now that young father can make the decision to say, I'm here, I'm going to stick it out with you, I'm going to do what I need to do. Or, you know what? He can be that knucklehead that runs off and is like, you know what? You handle it. Have the child come see me when she's 18. And I'm going to tell you how that totally works against you. If you have ever seen an interview with Shaquille O'Neal, you'll know that this does not work. See, I'm from Newark, New Jersey. That's where Shaq's from. And what's interesting was he gave an interview talking about how his biological father up and left his mother. Well, and thank God his mother married a man who decided to be Shaquille's dad. You see, there's a big difference between a father and a dad. Any man can be a father. A real man is a dad. He took on the role of being dad. He showed Shaquille everything. Well, his was interesting. I used to work at this restaurant. Shaquille's father used to come in all the time. I mean, this is no knock on Shaquille's father or on Shaquille. But the man was clearly, it was almost like he looked like a bum. I'm not saying he was, I don't know anything about it. But he didn't, his son is, at this point, his son is shining in the NBA. And he walked into the restaurant where I'm working at looking homeless. Come to find, he had a difficult financial situation he was in and the whole nine. Luckily, Shaquille had a heart. And Shaquille decided to take care of his father, although his father didn't take care of him. His father decided to throw away a lottery ticket. He didn't even check the numbers. His son ended up being one of the legends of the NBA. But he took the short side of the situation and decided that it wasn't worth his time to invest in Shaquille to transform from being a father to being a dad. That story I just wanted to say because there's a lot of potential out here. You have no idea what God, the maker, the universe, has put into the seed of your child. You could be birthing the next president, the next great actor, singer, dancer, athlete, scientist. You don't know. But if you make the decision to just up and leave, guess what? You have thrown away a winning lottery ticket. And don't look at your children that way. That's not what this conversation is about. Because the reality is, whether your son or daughter becomes the next type of Shaquille O'Neal or whatever, what have you, that's irrelevant. You as a father have a job. And that job is to raise that child to the best of your ability. So that you can be that man that your child looks up to. The one that they can call daddy. Not just being a father, but being a daddy. And on the other plane, like I said, there are single fathers out here that are raising daughters. And if that daughter becomes pregnant for any reason, and it happens to be a young pregnancy. Maybe she's between the ages of, like I said, 14, 15, 19, 20. She's young. You can choose to take the societal approach and focus on her becoming pregnant. When you do that, you automatically take a negative thought process to this. You're looking at this like, oh my goodness, I can't believe you got pregnant. Because that's the way society wants you to see it. But if you make the choice to shift your perspective and say, I need to focus on how I'm going to make my daughter comfortable, how I'm going to help her navigate through this period in her life. I need to do that for my baby and my grandbaby. The goal is to make sure that A, young fathers don't end up becoming single fathers, and B, single fathers don't end up becoming estranged from their daughters and their grandchildren. The conversation with Miss Guzman, the birth doula, she's going to be vital in helping to create that understanding as to why and how to help prevent these things from happening. So please make sure that you come to the show. It is April 25th. And my particular segment, I'm going to be doing a live stream for my show, Navigating Single Fatherhood. It's 10 a.m. Mountain Time. So again, April 25th, Friday, Mountain Time. And the great thing is, this event, the Global Grief Network annual event, is going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So there are going to be so many different presenters. There are going to be so many different perspectives that are dealing with aspects of grief. Everything from death and loss to loss of like a job or a pet. Or even, like I said, doing what I'm doing. The potential for single parenting grief. And trust me, there is a lot of grief related to being a single parent. I've been a single parent for a while. When my wife passed away, I had to raise two girls on my own. I had to go through a lot of grief dealing with that. So this conference is so important. Check out the different presenters. Like I said, mine is I'm Friday, 10 a.m. I'm one of the first people. But there are going to be so many people throughout the weekend. There are going to be panels, discussions, musicians, comedians, people that have incredible information to offer and provide. And like I said, so many different areas of grief. Again, I just got to thank Tony Lynch and Miss Ada Malave for bringing this event together for another year. I mean, Tony's been doing this since, I think, 2022. And, this is the annual Global Grief event. Again, there are so many presenters. There's so many people, so many different perspectives. Make sure you come to the event. Come see my live for Navigating Single Fatherhood. That's going to take place on Friday, April 25th, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. I'm going to be having a special guest, Miss Natalie Guzman, who's a birth doula and a specialist in working with family birthing. Thank you again. I look forward to seeing you at the event.